Welcome to the 2025 3-Minute Thesis Competition. I'm Audrey Doyle, your MC for the evening. Thank you for joining us. Whether you are here with us in person or joining us online, we truly appreciate your support. Before we begin, please take a moment to silence your phones. 3-Minute Thesis is a competition where graduate students and postdoctoral scholars are tested on their ability to communicate the essence of their research without the charts, figures, and graphs that they are used to using. A typical doctoral thesis is 80,000 words and would take 9 hours to present. Our finalists tonight have just 3 minutes. The 3MT competition originated at the University of Queensland in 2008 during a severe drought. To conserve water, residents timed their showers with 3-minute egg timers. Inspired by this, Dean Emeritus Alan Lawson saw an opportunity to challenge students to communicate concisely, and the idea for the 3MT competition was born. By 2012, 3MT expanded to the Trans-Tasman International Competition. In 2016, it grew to include universities across Southeast and North Asia, becoming the Asia-Pacific 3MT competition, hosted annually by UQ. Now, just 17 years later, 3MT is held in over 900 universities across more than 85 countries, including Purdue. The rules for this competition are simple. A single static PowerPoint slide is permitted. No additional electronics are permitted. No props, costumes, or instruments are permitted. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes maximum, and the decision of the judging panel is final. Now, let's discuss the judging criteria. Our panel of judges and you, our audience, will look for 3 things. Communication style. Was the topic and its significance communicated in a language appropriate to an intelligent but non-specialist audience? Comprehension. Did the presentation help you understand the research? Engagement. Did the presentation make you want to know more? Remember to consider these factors when you are voting for our People's Choice winner tonight. Before introducing our judges, let's give them a round of applause for volunteering their time judging this competition. Now, let me introduce our esteemed judging panel. Dr. Jenna DiVincenzo is an assistant professor in the Elmore Family School of Electrical and Computer Engineering. She holds a PhD in software engineering from Carnegie Mellon University. Jenna earned her bachelor's degree in mathematics and computer science from Youngstown State University. Dr. Jay Akridge served as the Purdue University Provost and Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Diversity from 2017 to 2022. He now serves as the Trustee Chair in Teaching and Learning Excellence and is a Professor of Ag Economics. Dr. Douglas Prime is a Clinical Assistant Professor of Business Communication at the Daniels School of Business. He also serves as Director of the Center for Business Communication. Dr. Prime holds a master's degree and PhD in interpersonal communication from Purdue University, as well as a Master of Divinity from Calvin Theological Seminary. Dr. Lindsay Peralt is an Emmy-nominated television journalist turned educator and content creator. Lindsay is a lecturer at the Brian Lamb School of Communication and is Director of Co-Curricular Engagement. She is also the host and executive producer of Greater Lafayette's first lifestyle television show, Life on the Wabash. Lindsay teaches a range of journalism and video production related courses, as well as content creation. Lindsay did her graduate work at Purdue and her undergraduate studies at the University of Wisconsin-Madison. We have two very special judges joining us tonight, Dr. Kevin Campbell and wife Sue Campbell, Purdue alumni and members of the Purdue President's Council. Dr. Kevin Campbell earned his AAS from Purdue Polytechnic Institute in 1971 and BS from the College of Pharmacy in 1977. While at Purdue, Kevin was a member of Pi Kappa Tau fraternity and trained in jiu-jitsu. He often traveled home to Windfall, Indiana, working as a car mechanic to help pay for his education. During pharmacy school, he met his wife Sue, and they married in 1978. Kevin worked as a pharmacist for 2 years before entering dental school at IU, continuing part-time pharmacy work until graduating in 1983. After working as a dental associate in South Bend, he opened up his own practice in Granger. He also spent 7 years as clinical instructor of dental hygiene at IU South Bend. Sue earned her BS and MS degrees from the College of Science in 1977. Sue was the first in her family to attend Purdue, where she was active in Purdue musical organizations, Grand Prix, Delta Gamma Sorority, Alpha Sigma Phi, and worked as a biology lab instructor. She was also involved at University Lutheran Church and enjoyed playing sports at the co-rec since there were no women's intercollegiate sports at the time. After 8 years of teaching high school and college biology, Sue took 20 years off to raise their 4 children, during which she volunteered extensively at their schools, church, and the Penn Marching Band. All their children attended Purdue and were active in Purdue bands, which Sue and Kevin continue to support. Sue returned to work in 2002 at Penn High School, retiring in 2017. After Kevin retired in 2022, they moved to Purdue's campus, where they enjoy attending sporting events, lectures, and concerts, and traveling the world with the Purdue President's Council. Thank you all for your time and expertise. Please give them a round of applause before we get started. Now, without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our first presenter this evening, Christine Elliott. Christine is a PhD candidate from the College of Agriculture, studying in the Department of Entomology under the supervision of Dr. Ian Kaplan. Christine grew up in rural Florida, where the gentle hum of nocturnal insects rose like a living lullaby as she chased fireflies through the dusk. That childhood wonder blossomed into a lifelong passion for insect conservation, leading her to earn her master's degree in entomology from the University of Hawaii at Manoa. As a doctoral candidate and USDA NIFA AFRI predoctoral fellow in Purdue's entomology department, Christine works on identifying agriculture practices that best support insect biodiversity alongside pioneering non-invasive methods to track their populations. She envisions a future where agriculture thrives sustainably, feeding the world, supporting farmers, and fostering a landscape teeming with the biodiversity that underpins our survival. Outside work, Christine enjoys playing the euphonium and spending time with her greatest treasures, her husband Tim, and their sons Jacob and Finn. Christine has helicoptered into uninhabited rainforests and chanted Melee to the gods of the oceans, requesting safe passage to a remote island littered with bombs and endangered species, all in the name of research. But the real mission? Changing the way people think about insects, one presentation at a time. Her 3-minute thesis presentation is titled, "Our Insect Calls, the Soundtrack of Sustainability."
Imagine walking through a cornfield in August, towering green stalks, a warm breeze, the soft rustle of leaves. What you might not imagine are the thousands of insects working quietly behind the scenes. These beneficial bugs provide more than $50 billion in ecosystem services, things like pollination and natural pest control. But here's the shocking truth. Agriculture, the very system that depends on these insects, is now one of the leading causes of their decline. Conventional farming has been linked to rapid global insect biodiversity loss. Excessive use of chemicals, monocropping, and habitat destruction are just a few of the reasons behind the current biodiversity crisis. Enter regenerative agriculture, a system that seeks to create sustainable ecosystems and reduce harmful practices without sacrificing yield. But there's a catch. We have a limited understanding of how these practices impact beneficial insects, and farmers need this real-world data to make informed management decisions. And it gets even trickier. Monitoring for insects, these tiny, diverse, and often cryptic creatures, is incredibly challenging. Identification is a struggle, even for experts, and they don't exactly stay put for easy counting. Traditional monitoring relies on trapping, which can result in the death of millions of insects, many of which aren't even the ones we're trying to study. But what if there were a better way? What if we could monitor insect populations faster, more cost-effectively, and without harming a single one, using sound? And that's precisely what I'm doing, pioneering the use of acoustic monitoring to eavesdrop on the complex sounds of insects in commercial ag fields. Crickets, katydids, and their relatives each sing a unique song. Together, they compose a soundtrack of sustainability, allowing me to identify species and track biodiversity by recording these melodies. And with these recordings, I'm leveraging AI and machine learning to help uncover how insect populations change with farming practices. And the best part? Not a single insect is hurt in the process. And my research shows we can distinguish between conventional and regenerative fields based on the sounds of the insect communities alone. Now, we're creating an insect-specific acoustic index and training algorithms to identify more species by their songs. This research is reshaping the way we monitor and understand insect biodiversity. And by identifying practices that maintain or even increase beneficial insect populations, I'm equipping farmers with the tools they need to help reverse the trends of insect decline, ensuring a healthier, more sustainable future for all of us. So the next time you're walking through a field, listen closely. The world is buzzing with the essential work of insects. And while that sound is fading fast, we're fighting to keep it alive.
Thank you, Christine. Please help me welcome to the stage our next competitor, Shreya Varavelli. Shreya is a thesis-seeking master's student in the College of Agriculture studying botany and plant pathology under the supervision of Dr. Morgan Furze. She earned her undergraduate degree at Texas A&M, where she developed a passion for sustainable and health-driven food systems. Since coming to Purdue, Shreya has cultivated this passion by understanding how our crops survive in a changing environment. In her free time, Shreya rollerblades, climbs, and does a lot of yoga. Her 3-minute thesis presentation is titled, Bling Bling, Spending on Yield Over Saving for the Future.
Droughts are increasing, and our sessile, non-moving plants are left vulnerable to these devastating events. This begs the question, what about the future of our food, the crops our farmers grow? We're already seeing disruptions in our food supply chains and reductions in yield. We need to be able to understand how our plants perform during these devastating events and use this information to select for cultivars of crops that can withstand these disturbances. This is where my research with carbohydrates emerges as an opportunity to indicate the relative resilience of the plant. For some background, carbohydrates are energy-packed gold coins that get spent on various different plant processes, such as building tree rings or even growing flowers. They also can get saved in little pockets of energy throughout the plant, in roots, stems, and even branches. Plants have the capacity to tap into these pockets of energy when they can't perform photosynthesis and make fresh energy. Kind of like what we do when we're digging through our pockets for some extra change when our credit cards aren't working. In my research, I studied the levels of NSCs for 4 different cultivars of almond trees at 2 pivotal time points in the life cycle of almond trees, at the end of the growing season and right at the beginning of the following year's growing season. Almond trees are deciduous species, which means they lose their leaves, their prime energy-making machinery, at the end of fall and require stored energy to support themselves during wintertime respiration and fuel springtime growth. So, those bright white and pink flowers that blossom at the ends of almond branches are directly fueled by those pockets of energy. These flowers are important because when they're pollinated, they turn into a fruit, and this develops into an almond. And that's what we measure as yield. So, very precious energy is being spent on yield instead of remaining in that back pocket of energy the plant can rely on when in a pinch. My research has shown that more and more carbon is being allocated to yield over the years for all 4 varieties of almonds. This might be a highly favorable trait for growers, but as water resources decrease and as temperatures increase, will these plants persist? For the longevity of our agroecosystems, we may need to consider growing and selecting cultivars of crops that go beyond yield and have sufficient carbon saved up to fend off future disturbances. Thank you.
Thank you, Shreya. Please welcome our next competitor, PhD candidate, Layla Clare. Layla is studying public health in the College of Health and Human Sciences under the supervision of Dr. Natalia Rodriguez. She earned her bachelor's degree in public health with majors in criminology and sociology from the University of Miami. Her research focuses on women's health, using community-based methods to prevent breast and cervical cancer. Layla aims to create interventions to reduce health disparities and improve outcomes for underserved communities. She is passionate about promoting innovative public health strategies that support sustainable healthcare practices. Layla, a native of Bolivia, is fluent in both Spanish and English. She was also a Division I college athlete at the University of Miami, competing as a rower during her undergraduate studies. Her presentation is titled, Empowering Hispanic Women, Bridging the Gap in Cervical Cancer Screenings.
No woman should die from cervical cancer. Yet every 2 minutes, somewhere in the world, a life is lost to this disease. Almost all cases are linked to human papillomavirus, or HPV, a common sexually transmitted infection, so common that most people will have it at some point in their lives. While it clears on its own, if infection persists, it can lead to cancer. Cervical cancer is preventable, treatable, and curable. It's so preventable. How? We have the HPV vaccine for boys and girls and regular screening throughout adulthood. Screening is key to detecting it early. So what's the problem? Despite prevention methods, disparities remain. In the United States, Hispanic women face high rates of cervical cancer incidence and mortality. Picture a waiting room full of women, some with fearful looks, some waiting too long, some never coming at all. Hispanic women are more likely to be overdue for screening, often diagnosed at later stages when treatment is difficult and survival is lower. Zooming into Lake County, Indiana, where my research took place, we see troubling disparities. Cervical cancer mortality is high, and there's a large Hispanic population. So what are solutions? Primary HPV testing is now the preferred screening method, opening the door to self-sampling. Imagine a simple swab allowing a woman to collect her own vaginal sample in a private, comfortable setting of her choice. A tool of empowerment, really. Research shows that these are as accurate as clinician-collected samples, and the recent FDA approval of in-clinic self-sampling is a step forward to expanding access to those that may have faced barriers to traditional testing. But there are still challenges. This method is not yet reaching those that need it most, including Hispanic women. Education and outreach remain ongoing barriers. Imagine a bridge that's built halfway. The technology is there, but the connection to the community is missing. This is where community health workers, or CHWs, play a key role as they're trusted health professionals that can bridge the gaps between cervical cancer education, self-sampling, and the communities they serve. So what's my research about? I have 3 aims. First, identify the factors that influence willingness to adopt self-sampling and engage with CHWs for cervical cancer screening. Second, examine how cervical cancer screening behaviors are shaped by the interplay of factors such as race, gender, socioeconomic status, culture, language, education, and immigration. And third, identify the specific barriers and facilitators to self-sampling for Hispanic women by speaking to Hispanic women, CHWs, and providers. Ultimately, these insights will help guide strategies to improve cervical cancer in the community. And you may ask, why should I care about this? Because a cancer diagnosis doesn't just affect the patient. It also leaves its prints on those around, touching families, friends, and entire support systems. It's a mother unable to be with her kids, or a sister not being able to be at Thanksgiving dinner. And I'll end with this. No mom, no wife, no sister or daughter, no woman should die from cervical cancer. Thank you.
Thank you, Layla. Our next competitor is Sydney Beachboard, a PhD candidate from the College of Agriculture's Department of Biochemistry, studying under the supervision of Dr. Andrew Messakar. Her work is currently focused on studying emerging variants of an essential protein, MPRO, of the SARS-CoV-2 virus. In her free time, she raises a 2-year-old puppy named Pepper and enjoys running half marathons and outdoor adventures. In addition to all of her educational work, Sydney is getting married this October. The title of her presentation is Preventing the Next Pandemic, Countering SARS-CoV-2 Drug Resistance.
5 years ago, our lives changed overnight. A global pandemic, something out of a science fiction novel, became our reality. Cities fell silent, streets emptied, and fear crept into every corner of our lives. We were scared to leave our homes, uncertain of what the future held. Hospitals filled beyond capacity, while the frontline workers fought an invisible enemy, and the world watched in shock as millions of lives were lost. And with all of this, we realized something truly terrifying. We were not prepared to handle the scale of devastation caused by a global pandemic. During this time of uncertainty, scientists raced to develop solutions to treat severe COVID-19 caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. With this effort, they developed Paxlovid, an FDA-approved drug that's one of our best defenses against this virus. Paxlovid targets an essential piece of the virus, 3CL-Pro. 3CL-Pro works as a pair of scissors that the virus can use to cut out the pieces it needs to assemble new viruses. Paxlovid works by jamming the virus's scissors, stopping it in its tracks, and preventing the spread of SARS-CoV-2. But here's the problem. As this virus mutates, it has the ability to reshape its scissors. And when the virus finds a way to keep cutting, it makes Paxlovid ineffective. This is where we have a chance to act. The pandemic also gave us something very powerful: data. Scientists tracked infections, mapped out viral mutations, and built a massive database. Instead of just reacting to new mutations, we now have the chance to predict and counter drug resistance before it even happens. With my thesis work, I leverage the data generated by the pandemic to look at mutations within 3CL-Pro so that we can gain an understanding of how these mutations impact viral drug resistance. With my work, I have identified many clinical mutations of 3CL-Pro that make this piece of the virus drug resistant to a key component of Paxlovid, with one of these mutations causing 250 times drug resistance. Imagine going from needing one pill to requiring 250 pills just to have the same effect. That's not just a problem, that is a crisis. But here's the good news. With my thesis work, we've now developed a new inhibitor that can jam the scissor of this highly drug-resistant mutation and remains effective against all tested mutations. With this work, we can now develop therapeutics that target emerging mutations and counter drug resistance before it even happens, so that we can develop antiviral drugs that evolve with the virus. We can't control how this virus mutates, but with work like this, we can control how we fight back, ensuring that the next time a pandemic strikes, we won't just be prepared to face it, we will be protected. Thank you.
Thank you, Sydney. Our next finalist joining me on stage is Rodrigo Alvarez Ruiz. He is a postdoctoral scholar working in the Department of Agronomy under the supervision of Dr. Linda Lee. During his master's program in environmental pollution, toxicology, and health, he fell in love with researching and decided to continue his education, earning his PhD in the same topic. In 2021, Rodrigo moved from Spain to the U.S. to continue his research as a postdoctoral scholar at Purdue University. He enjoys playing video games, hiking, and creating science content on social media. Interestingly enough, Rodrigo almost did not become a scientist because for a long time he seriously considered pursuing a career as a professional juggler and fire spitter. His 3-minute thesis presentation is titled, "The Fate of Forever Chemicals."
Have you used a non-stick pan, or maybe mascara, or eaten microwave popcorn? Well, then you have been exposed to PFAS. PFAS are chemicals with amazing properties. That's why they are present in many goods, such as cosmetics, food packaging, or clothing. However, PFAS have a dark side, linked to thyroid disease, liver and kidney problems, and even some types of cancer. PFAS are a health problem. Now, you may think, well, do not worry. I just need to avoid those products with PFAS, and then I will not be exposed to them. Unfortunately, it is not that easy. One of the greatest qualities of PFAS, how persistent, how lasting they are, is also their worst flaw. Imagine that you wash off your makeup, or that while washing your pan, the non-stick layer chips. If PFAS in them degrade in some hours or days, it wouldn't be a big problem. However, PFAS are so persistent that they are called forever chemicals. Instead of degrading, PFAS will travel through the sewage, potentially end up in the river, the groundwater, the soil, and if you drink from that water, if you eat a crop from that soil, PFAS may find their way back to you. Due to their persistence, PFAS are everywhere and are estimated to be in the bloodstream of 95% of the US population. Yes, PFAS are a problem. And to solve that problem, here at Purdue, we study their sources, how they move through the environment, where they accumulate, or in one word, fate. We are studying the fate of PFAS. To do so, we use liquid chromatography mass spectrometry. Imagine it as a magnifying glass that allows us to see every single chemical in the environment. With it, we accurately analyze PFAS in soil, water, crops, and with that information, we have created a picture of the PFAS fate in areas highly impacted by them. We know which ones accumulate in soil, which ones reach the groundwater, and which ones pose a risk. Our next step is to assess their fate, but in agricultural fields, including the uptake by crops. This fate, this picture, is crucial to determine the environmental and human health risk of PFAS, to know when and where to apply techniques to remove or destroy them, to know how regulations should be implemented, to protect the environment, to protect the farmers, but especially to protect you. Because knowing the fate of PFAS means controlling the fate of our health. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rodrigo. Next up is Saeed Tanzim Mobarath from the Purdue Polytechnic Institute. He is from the beautiful country of Bangladesh. Saeed earned his master's degree in industrial engineering from the Texas Tech University and in 2021 joined the Virtual Futures Lab at Purdue Polytechnic Institute in the Department of Computer and Information Technology. Saeed has visited 25 countries and has checked off 45 U.S. states. He always has a suitcase half-packed. As an engineer, he firmly believes he can fix anything. Saeed once built a robot with the sole purpose of fetching snacks, a true engineer's dream. His presentation is titled, Robotics Through Play, Making Robotics Education Fun and Engaging.
Robotics, a term that many of us are familiar with, at least on the surface. Sounds really cool, right? But what exactly happens below the surface? Sure, it's about building robots, but behind that there's a mix of programming, electronics, and embedded systems, all the brainy stuff that makes a robot work. These skills can help someone solve really complex real-world problems. But here's the catch. Learning robotics is really tough. Studies have shown that keeping interest and motivation high in formal robotics education is a real challenge, especially for beginners. So, what can we do to make it more exciting? Well, in technology-related disciplines, game-based informal learning has been found to be, well, a game changer. Just ask yourself, how many times have you got lost for hours while playing a game? Now imagine learning robotics through that game, where education becomes a fun and engaging experience. Then try adding virtual reality into the mix. Through immersion and interactivity, you feel more connected to the study material, making it easier for you to grasp and remember. So why not combine these two to teach robotics? Well, it has been attempted through edutainment systems, but these systems focus on enjoyment only as a reward for learning, making learning feel like a chore. They end up facing the same problems as the formal learning methods. That's where my research comes in. I'm flipping the script, focusing on learning as a reward for enjoyment to develop and evaluate a game-based VR system where you can build and customize a two-wheeled mobile robot and use it to solve fun and interactive puzzles. But there's a twist. The robot may randomly glitch. You will have to fix it by solving simple and intuitive puzzles that introduce programming and electronics. No prior tech skills are needed at all. What makes this system even more unique is the realism. I've developed a novel method to recreate real-world objects into the virtual world, not only visually, but through the feeling of touch. You can actually feel the different types of robotic components, making learning more immersive than ever. Initial results have shown that the system is easy to use and suitable for hands-on learning. Also, in terms of touch, there were no differences between real and virtual objects. My current goals are to ensure that the system has a high learning effect, high motivation, and high interest value compared to existing solutions, so that if you have poor programming skills, you can still learn robotics. If electronics make you nervous, you can learn robotics too. Because if learning robotics feels like playing your favorite game, anyone can become a builder, a thinker, and a future innovator, and solve complex problems of tomorrow. So let's turn robotics education into an epic adventure and inspire the next generation of tech wizards. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. Please welcome to the stage PhD candidate Austin Choi. Austin is from the College of Engineering, studying in the Department of Chemical Engineering. Originally from Bartlett, Illinois, Austin graduated with his bachelor's degree from the University of Minnesota Twin Cities in chemical engineering. Since then, he has been at Purdue, working in a research group studying novel, next-generation battery chemistry with a focus on potassium-ion batteries as a sustainable alternative to lithium-ion batteries. In his free time, Austin plays the piano in the Purdue Tower of Power Jazz Band and is an avid racket sports enjoyer, particularly tennis and table tennis. Austin's presentation is titled, Fertilizer-Powered Potassium-Ion Batteries for Sustainable Energy Storage.
Potassium. When I say this word, what comes to your mind? I bet it's probably bananas, or maybe apricots or plant fertilizers. Very soon, you might be able to add batteries to that list as well. Currently, lithium-ion batteries are the highest performing battery system due to their high energy density, cycle life, and shelf life. However, the raw materials needed to produce lithium-ion batteries are both scarce and unevenly distributed in the Earth's crust, leading to supply chain issues as the materials are mined out of the ground and prompting researchers to look for alternative metals that might be able to replace lithium in the future. Potassium, yes, the same potassium in your avocados and beet greens is very high on the list to replace lithium. Potassium is 1,000 times more abundant in the Earth's crust than lithium and is evenly distributed, alleviating the supply chain issues that currently face lithium-ion batteries. However, the real-world performance of potassium-ion batteries is very far behind that of the lithium-based systems, making sure that potassium-ion batteries have not yet reached commercialization. My research focuses on helping potassium-ion batteries close the gap between them and lithium-ion batteries so that potassium-ion batteries can be fully realized as a sustainable alternative to lithium-ion batteries. First, we had to pick one specific problem that faces potassium-ion batteries right now. While it is true that potassium-ion batteries have less energy density and shelf life compared to their lithium-ion counterparts, we chose to focus on their cycle life, which is the amount of times a battery can be discharged and then recharged before the battery becomes unusable. After all, if a rechargeable battery isn't rechargeable, then of course it's of no use commercially. As for our solution strategy, we turned towards a mineral called langbeinite. If you have a green thumb, you might recognize langbeinite as a potassium-based fertilizer that you can simply buy off the shelf at any big box store. However, we discovered that using langbeinite in the synthesis of the materials we put into our potassium-ion batteries drastically increases the cycle life of those batteries compared to experiments without langbeinite. Additionally, given that langbeinite is a fertilizer, it is both environmentally friendly and low cost, helping bolster the sustainable aspect of these potassium-ion batteries in particular. Right now, potassium-ion batteries still are in their infancy. Researchers only discovered them about 20 years ago, and the most promising research developments have only been made within the last 7 to 8. However, with future research developments such as these, potassium-ion batteries can grow and change the way that we power the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. Competitor Allison Pickering is a current thesis-seeking master's student in materials engineering, studying under Dr. Jan Anders Monsen. She completed her undergraduate studies here in 2024, earning bachelor's degrees in materials engineering and French. Allison is an avid triathlete and marathon runner, but ask her to climb a flight of stairs and she'll need a snack and a 10-minute break to recover. Her presentation is titled, Driving Change, Sustainable Automotive Composites.
Over 4 million miles of roads crisscross the United States. That's enough distance to wrap our Earth's equator over 160 times. Highways, driveways, city streets, all built for one purpose. Cars. We live in a world driven by automobiles. They take us where we need to go, but their carbon footprint is steering us towards a scary future. Ground transportation is the single highest contributor to US greenhouse gas emissions, and vehicle weight plays a major role in this, as it directly correlates to fuel economy. Despite this, over the past decade, combustion vehicles have only gotten heavier. Clearly, we're driving in the wrong direction. So buckle up. Let me show you the road to a more sustainable automotive future. Right now, in our vehicles, metals carry the load. They provide the strength needed for crash safety, but they also weigh us down, literally and environmentally. That's why automotive manufacturers have turned to composites made of plastics reinforced with short glass or carbon fibers, because these materials are strong, yet also lightweight. But if we're serious about sustainability, we need to consider the whole journey, not just the first ride. Unlike metals, which can be repeatedly melted down and reformed, these composites seriously break down with recycling. The plastic, it degrades from exposure to heat and loses key additives like those that keep clear plastics from turning yellow over time. Now our fibers. With each round of recycling, they get shorter and shorter and shorter until they're ground to dust, losing the very strength that made them beneficial in the first place. Now this is where our solution comes in. We've developed a manufacturing process that reinforces our composite with a continuous fiber skeleton. Like rebar in concrete, our skeleton absorbs the load. And when we recycle it, we introduce longer fibers back into our material, counteracting our loss of fiber length. On top of this, after each round of recycling, we mix in a bit of fresh composite to help us gain back some of those crucial additives. The result? Parts that demonstrate an increased strength compared to the composite alone, and most importantly, consistent properties across all 3 rounds of recycling, paving the way for composites to be infinitely recyclable, just like metals. Now this is more than a novel manufacturing approach. It's a roadmap to a better future. By making lightweight, sustainable vehicles a reality, we can accelerate change and drive the transportation industry in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison. Our next finalist is Nikhil Sankar. He is a PhD student from the College of Engineering, studying in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering under Professor Mohammad Jahan Shahi. Nikhil earned his undergraduate degree in electrical engineering here at Purdue. His research focuses on leveraging emerging technologies like AI and VR for smart cities, with an emphasis on making these solutions both effective and affordable. His primary work is using AI to enhance road inspections, contributing to broader infrastructure improvements in the U.S. Nikhil and his sister are 12 years apart, and he loves to play pickleball. He was born in India, but never actually lived there. After he was born, his family moved to Singapore, then New Jersey, eventually leading him to study at Purdue. The title of his 3-minute thesis presentation is Pothole Patrol, AI on the Streets.
In 2021 alone, pothole damage cost drivers $160 billion, with the average repair bill at $700 per vehicle. Yet, most cities only inspect roads every 1 to 3 years. That means after every storm, new potholes open up, but they often go unnoticed for years before they're fixed. And it's not just inconvenient, it's dangerous. Potholes cause accidents, damage vehicles, and disrupt traffic. So why aren't we fixing them sooner? Well, the US road infrastructure received a grade D, and let's be honest, that's one step away from failing a class. The reason is that cities rely on outdated and inefficient road inspection methods. Currently, manual inspections require engineers to visually check the roads, which is slow and expensive. There are newer methods like smartphones, mounted like dash cams to record video, but they struggle with glare and obstructions. On the higher end, laser-equipped vans are very precise, but they cost millions, and so cities can't afford them regularly. Plus, processing their data takes months. So we're stuck with two bad options: cheap but unreliable, or accurate but unaffordable. But what if we could have the best of both? That's exactly what my research tackles: a low-cost, high-accuracy road monitoring system that could be mounted on any car. As I drive, AI-powered cameras scan the road, detecting potholes, cracks, and other defects. With a built-in depth sensor, it even measures the depth of a pothole, critical for prioritizing repairs. Using this data, the AI then tries to find the good and bad roads. But the real game changer? This AI system costs just $2,000 and can analyze an entire city's roads in days, not months. Instead of inspections happening every few years, cities could now monitor their roads monthly or even weekly at a fraction of the cost. And this isn't just research. Cities like Fort Wayne and West Lafayette here in Indiana are already using this to improve their roads faster and more efficiently. And beyond fixing potholes, it's about safety. Frequent inspections help catch problems before they become hazards. Small cracks that could easily be repaired turn into deep potholes requiring full resurfacing, putting pressure on already tight budgets. By detecting issues early, my AI system keeps roads in a better shape for a longer time. And what if we took it a step further? Imagine if delivery and Uber drivers had this technology in their cars, automatically building a live road condition map just by driving their usual routes. With crowdsourced data, cities could get real-time updates and prioritize repairs instantly rather than waiting years. With AI, we can fix roads before they fall apart. Instead of patching potholes, we could prevent them from forming in the first place. And the best part? This isn't just an idea. It's already in action. Thank you.
Thank you, Nikhil. Please welcome our final competitor, Tanya Sharma. Tanya is a PhD candidate in the College of Science, studying chemistry under the advisement of Dr. Hilka Kintama. Tanya is an international student from Delhi, India. She completed her bachelor's and master's, both in chemistry, from Delhi University and joined Purdue in the fall of 2022. The scope of her research includes pyrolysis, ion molecule reactions, gas chromatography, and quantum calculations. Tanya is also the co-chair of the Graduate Student Advisory Board for the Department of Chemistry. As an extrovert, she likes to explore new places, dress up, and get to know new people. Tanya loves to go to the gym to lift weights, which she says strengthens her mental health, and she loves to travel. Tanya's 3-minute thesis presentation is titled Trash to Treasure: Molecular Level Studies to Convert Waste into Useful Resources.
Just imagine a world drowning in plastic waste just because you grabbed a cup of coffee in a plastic cup, sipped it, and then tossed it right into the bin. Now multiply that by billions of people around the world every single day. Where does all this plastic go? Into landfills, oceans, and even our food chain. But what if instead of being an environmental nightmare, we could turn these plastics into something useful? Something like industrial chemicals or even fuel for your car. And this is what my research aims to do. In my lab, I study polystyrene, which is just 7% in the total plastic composition, but take 500 years to degrade. Yes, you heard that right, 500 long years to degrade. Now, traditional recycling methods do not work well with polystyrene because burning it creates toxic fumes and landfilling it only adds to the global plastic pollution crisis. So what if we could break it down and then give it a second chance? The answer lies in a process known as fast pyrolysis, where I heat polystyrene at extremely high temperatures but without oxygen. This causes polystyrene to break down at the molecular level. It is just like trying to break a Lego house into small pieces and then trying to build up something entirely new from those building blocks. But here's the catch. Scientists until now haven't fully understood that what happens to polystyrene at the moment it starts breaking down. By unlocking the secrets of polystyrene breakdown, my research provides missing blueprint required to design better and efficient recycling technologies. I use a very powerful combination of two analytical techniques where I first heat polystyrene to break it down into small fragments and then analyze those fragments on the basis of molecular mass information. It is essentially a high-tech chemical detective which helps me to understand that what is present at the molecular level. This could lead us closer to a circular economy where plastic is no longer a problem, but a very valuable resource waiting to be trapped. So the next time when you think of tossing away a piece of coffee cup, just remember, it doesn't have to end up in a landfill or an ocean. With the right science, it could turn out into another cup or even fuel for your car. Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya. Let's give our 10 competitors one last round of applause. Now it is time for you to vote for the People's Choice winner. But before you do, we would like to remind you what you are looking for. Please keep in mind the communication style, comprehension, and engagement of the presentations. Please scan the QR code on the screen or on your program to vote now. While you are voting, the judges will go backstage to discuss their 3MT contestant scoring. In the meantime, we would like to introduce you to another OGSPS competition called Say It in 6. Say It in 6 is a fun, creative competition that our graduate students and postdoctoral scholars love. There were over 400 submissions this year. So, what is Say It in 6? It's based on a concept from Smith Magazine called 6-Word Memoirs and is tailored to challenge Purdue graduate students and postdoctoral scholars. The competition requires students to tell their research story with one image using only 6 words. During the week of March 3rd through the 7th, nearly 2,500 votes were cast to choose our 2025 Say It in 6 People's Choice winner and recipient of $500. Welcome to the stage our Say It in 6 People's Choice winner, Michael Oyelocking from the College of Engineering. His 6 words are, "When forests whisper, data drives change." Congratulations, Michael. Please join me on stage. Nice job, Michael. A panel of OGS PS judges selected the second place winners based on their comprehensive Say It in 6 story and voting popularity. The second place winner is Precision, Passion, Pouring Progress into Science, sent in by PhD student Mary Busayo Oluyemi from the College of Agriculture's Department of Food Science. Mary will receive $500 for her winning entry. Congratulations, Mary. Please join me on stage. Finally, the winner of our 2025 Say It in 6 competition and the $1,000 award recipient is Good Roots, Better Shoots, Antifungal Attributes, sent in by PhD student Christian Salinas, studying horticulture and landscape architecture. Christian, please join me on stage. Congratulations to all of our Say It in 6 winners. Please give them a final round of applause. It's going to be just a couple more minutes until we have our final results from tonight. And now, the moment we have all been waiting for. The People's Choice winner for the 2025 3-Minute Thesis competition is Shreya Varavelli. Congratulations. Our second place winner is Nikhil Sankar. Congratulations. Finally, the winner of the 3-Minute Thesis competition is if I can get it open, Sydney Beachboard. Congratulations to all of our competitors, and thank you to everyone who attended the 3MT competition. Your support and enthusiasm helped make this event a great success and truly celebrated the incredible research of our graduate students and postdoctoral scholars. Thank you.